everybody. So today we are going to do the May energy update, and I am amazed we're already here. So we've had an interesting last month, I will say. It does feel like a new launching off place, and what we're going to do is move on from what we spoke of in April, which again was this new place of collective involvement in some way, or the starting to come out of this inner focus that we've had for quite some time, and being able to see and start to manifest out in the collective what we know and want for our future moving forward. Now, that said, these were these ideas and these thoughts and the knowing inside of what we want. These may be parts of our life journey that we're shifting and changing, we're making different decisions on. And we know this in our side ourselves. It's like it's gelling, it's coming up to the surface. This has all been up through April, and April really started to see a lot of people begin to, I'll just say, create in the outside world of us, the manifestation of that new earth. Now, you may say, well, I didn't do anything different. I didn't create anything. What many of us did, and we're kind of all at different stages, but yet we all go through these events together, but they manifest in us differently. And there are a lot of us right now that are ready to shift and change and create in the outside world, work more with the collective, work with others, potentially create for work for the assistance of others, the building out of they just said the times to come, out of what we know we want and desire. And that may be building out our own life in a different way. We may have had a different understanding of how we want to live and how we want to see our life unfold. And now that is becoming, they just said coming to fruition. All right, so we're going to talk about what all this now means for May. And I have, honestly, I have not, lots of times what I'll do is I'll kind of get a sense of things, and I haven't even bothered to do that. So we're just rolling with this to see what comes up. All right, so let's go ahead and go into what they want to tell us today. Oh, dear ones, we find your journey is long and hard at times, and yet we say, oh yes, it's true, you as the collective are coming together through and through. Across the worldwide, oh, we find you have now come into your own in time, and yes, you will now, oh, we say, begin to see the sparks of a fire lit in your way from the inside out, and now it will come into fruition, the thing you will become, the person you know you are to be, and now you will see it manifest to be. Stepping into your own, again we find the one you've known, yes, all along in time. And because of what you have done up to this point, we say, and the continued growth you will find in your way, you now know what you wish to shift and change for in the great month of May. We say, you will start to see, we say too, the flowers bloom from what you have planted and sown, and now will begin to reap, we say too. Okay. It's such a different vibration when they come through in their voice, in a poetic form. And just so you know, it's a lot of energy. I know I told you guys I would do a video on how to start channeling, or at least my method, and how it all started for me. I'm still going to intend to do that. I just have not had any time. But it's very different energy when you're doing channeling through like angelic groups, all right? And also the energy is a little different as they roll right through you and come through your voice. It's just real interesting. And then there's the part of this where if you do mediumship, that's a whole nother ballgame as far as energy. That can really sap you. So that's a human, I'll just say a human soul, spirit, totally different energy. Okay, it's so interesting. Anyway, that's not what this channel, or that's not what this video is about, but we will be talking about that sometime in the future. So, all right, they very much were talking here about this idea of us planting those seeds, and now we're going to see the flowers bloom and reaping what we have sown. And I think they alluded to that in the last video in April, for April. And again, in the Northern Hemisphere, we're in spring, okay? I haven't had much spring here, at least in the Midwest, in Iowa, but now we're really starting to move into our springtime. But they're showing flowers blooming and launching forward. Also, I do close my eyes on occasion, so you may see me close my eyes a lot. I've been doing that more lately. When they're talking about reaping what we sow and bringing in to manifest, they keep talking about the collective and the energies around the collective. Okay, they just said sparks of fire. Oh, what does that mean, sparks of fire? We spark a fire? Oh, yes, we spark a fire, which turns into flame, okay. They're showing all of us as sparks of fire. Oh, sparks of fire. Sparks of fire, which then is sparks of fire. Okay, that makes sense to me. All right, they're showing across the globe. They're showing across the globe sparks. That's us. Oh, I have so many chills. With our ideas and our work we've done, our knowings, our following the thread of the thing that's in front of us each day of inspiration and passion, the knowings that we have, sparking a flame of fire across all of humanity with the choices you have made and the new work you will be doing. Now, this new work we'll be doing, what they're talking about, oh my gosh, they keep showing sparks across all of the world collective. That's us, okay? That's us. Again, stage or wave upon wave upon wave of us doing this, okay? So we have the sparks coming, okay? And the sparks are really lighting a fire. So, and that again, that's sparking from the inside out. The knowing of who we have been all along and being able to unravel that and clear out all of our stuff and that work that we've done to clear out old constructs, belief systems that open us up to our full power, working on our physical body, all those things we've done. Inner child, past lives, it goes on and on. Working in our present day incarnation issues, things we've stuffed down. It goes on and on. I'm really getting rubber meets the road here. They just said rubber meets the road here where, okay, I just heard engines revved. Okay, whoa, this feels like a huge time right now in May of, okay, they're talking about a massive launch forward, but now they're giving me some visuals. They're showing the rocket launching. You know how they give metaphors all the time. Rocket launching, and there's a lot of power behind the engines. Rocket launching, so launching, okay, is what they're very much showing. Flowers blooming, so many different metaphors. The moving into the wholeness of yourself. Okay, sparking the raging fire that will turn into the glory of all of humankind. Okay, it's very much, they're showing a forest fire. You know how forest fires leap? They leap. You know, they hit a spot and then they leap. And so that's what I'm getting is leaping. We leap. We're leaping. We're sharing our energy and we're igniting others into, okay, they just said a common bond, a common thread. Okay, our energies, ooh, okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is, I think, aligning with our last video, and I won't go into all of that. The one I just posted, I think it was with Jennifer, where what they're showing is, you know how I said the fire jumping? And they're talking aligning with others. So the fire, what they're showing is these fires then connect with each other and they create a network. Okay, that's us. So what we're doing is the spark becomes a flame and it becomes a roaring fire. And so what I'm getting now is because of this. Okay, they just said joining hands. Whoa, this is. They're giving so many metaphors today. This is massive. So connecting in with the collective energy, the power of who we are at the grassroots. Okay, they keep talking about the grassroots. Remember, this has always been a grassroots effort. So much grassroots stuff is starting to happen and shift and change. I'll give you a really good example. I will give you a really good example. Okay, I don't know how many of you are connected into what labor unions are doing nowadays. That's kind of my background. So not kind of, it is my background. Having worked in industrial relations and human resources for years and for management for very large corporations before I moved into my awakening journey and then started my business. Needless to say, what we have seen, they're bringing this one in, is the Amazon labor union was grassroots created. There are other old line unions that want to get their hands on this, right? That want to organize Amazon, and they organize in various locations. Okay, it's not one like national thing, and it could be, but the point is it's very local areas. Guess what? if any of you know about this, what has happened in Staten Island is these employees, after a 2-year working effort, have created an employee union led by a young man who is as grassroots as they get. He was an employee who got fired. He had created this amazing action network over 2 years, and they just recently had their vote. And guess what? Amazon Labor Union, it's one of the biggest union events, victories in recent history. Okay? And it's employee created. It's an employee created union, grassroots. And they're bringing this in for me. Anyway, if you don't know anything about this, I think you'll find it fascinating to be able to look into this and to see that anyone can make massive shift and change. They're a perfect example of this. And I'm very passionate about this, by the way, what they are doing. And they're going to continue to take their forest fire and rage it across the country in pockets as they work to see the rights of employees shift upward and employees be given what they deserve. But it's all grassroots. It's employee driven. My point in this is we are starting to see this happen. So if you ever wonder how you could ever make a difference and you're just an average person working an average job, look to them as the example. There are a lot of these examples now. We are creating the new earth out of grassroots movements, out of what we have done for our inner journey. All right, out of our inner journey. We're toppling things. We're changing things. We're breaking down constructs. We're breaking down old institutions. Very much getting May is a massive time of this shift and change to come. I think we're going to see more examples of this coming up. I have a lot of energy around this, okay? I think we're going to see rapid fire, this starting to happen. And so what I'm very much getting here too is as you start moving into whatever it is that you either in your life are shifting and changing, what you are doing with others, working in the collective to shift and change, even if you think it's something small, it can turn into something very, very big. It can affect others. So never look at it like that the movements that you make, the small shifts and changes don't matter. It's part of a greater vision. It's part of something different and shifting and changing into what we want to see as the new earth. And many of you are starting to see this. Remember, yes, things can happen big overnight, but remember, those massive shifts and changes come from the small shifts and changes that we create within ourselves. And then they start to gain momentum, and they start gaining momentum throughout the collective, as they say, as they keep showing the fire, like leaping and connecting into create this huge forest fire. Like, okay, they're talking about burning down the old constructs and institutions, belief systems that we have. What will happen though is what I'm hearing here is you're going to always be aware that old stuff will poke at you. Okay, the old stuff. For example, let me just give you a real good example that they're giving to me now is let's use Amazon Labor Movement or Union. They have a new way of doing this. I don't know what it is. I'm just hearing that they have a new way of working through this process of being a union. Okay. However, what they're going to have to be aware of is the old way of doing it doesn't fit anymore, okay? So they're going to, at times, potentially get pulled back in, this is how they do it in unions historically, so we probably need to do this and just basically create another union that's just the same as the old ones. No. No, that's not what I'm getting. I mean, we can say all amazing things about the unions that exist now, and there's also issues, as we certainly know, that have been in the past. But the point is it's antiquated energy, it's old energy, and now what's happening now for them in this Amazon labor movement, they have new energy. This is fresh, awakened energy, but we have to be aware as we are creating the new that we don't get pulled back from that old energy, okay? We have a lot of magnetic energy pulling us into the future, and that's because of the light workers, right? It's because of us shifting and changing. We are magnetic. Remember, we pull each other along. It's the 100th monkey thing. It's all of that. It's the water flowing over the swimming pool that somebody's sitting on the edge on, and it just tidal waves over and it just keeps coming, right? That's what this is about. However, what we're going to have to be aware of is don't look back. It's the don't look back over your shoulder. You can learn from the past and maybe take a few things forward that make sense, but you don't want to construct out of what was. All right, they're very much saying that. Don't construct out of what was. Don't get pulled back into the. They just said the abyss. Now that doesn't mean everything in the past is I'll just say there's nothing to take forward. There's a lot of lessons to take forward, but there are a lot of things that no longer work energetically in the environment that we're moving into. And so what we're really seeing now here in May, and I can't wait to see how this unfolds, what we're really now starting to see in May is this greater connectedness, this building out more of this network. They keep saying network today. They keep saying a global. They're showing the Earth and they're showing a like a light grid, but this is a fire. Well, this is part of the new grid. It's not, but it is. Okay, so like it is it's birthed out of the new grid. Okay, that makes sense. It's birthed out of the new energy. We've talked about the new grid, the old grid breaking down, the new grid being built. It's very crystalline, by the way. And then what they're showing is this forest fire, that this forest fire of us collectively connected gets to be birthed. And they're saying tended, because you tend to fire, tended within the crystalline structure of the new energy within the earth. So what we're seeing now is we're actually seeing some manifestations start to happen. Honestly, use the ALU as your example. It's an incredible story, and it is happening. It is starting to happen, and we're seeing it in fits and starts and pieces, grassroots. So it's blooming, it's blossoming. We are in May. Okay, they just said launching forward into the great months to come. Okay, let's just look at this. So what we're getting here. Okay, I just heard growth period. Great growth period to come. In the collective, we're going to see so many more things shift and change. It's grassroots too, broken down. So inside out job, they just said inside out job. So we've also talked about, wow, they're really talking collectively today. So interesting. They're really talking like some very solid stuff that we will start potentially seeing. Because remember, so much of this has been inside work, right? And it's kind of invisible and we don't see it. And we're like, I don't know what's going on. I just feel different, but what's happening, right? So what we're now contributing to is this growth in things like, and I know I keep using the Amazon Labor Union, but it's a great example. We're contributing to that in the work that we do. We're allowing for that. We're, tending the fires, right? Even if you look at yourself and go, I don't know what I've done or am doing, and yes, I've done all this inner work. Well, guess what? Now it's being manifest in the collective. Everything you've done has added to what's happening out there and what you will manifest as well and change. You've all shifted and changed, and you know it. You know you also have some big things coming. Many of you I work with, and I've already spoken to. And there are these ideas you have. There's these little things you're making movement on. Again, remember, this is a step-by-step process. It is, I have the idea. I want to build a website. I'm going to write my about page. I'm going to, whatever it is. You may think that's little, but that's where it starts. The understanding of who we are and what we want to be and how we're going to manifest that out into the collective in the future. That is what is happening now. We're fueling the fire by what we're doing individually to shift and change the collective in totality, building from the inside out, breaking down those old constructs. May is huge for this. So what they're talking about, I did not expect. Okay, the catalyst. They're talking about the catalyst. What they're talking about to come. Okay, they're showing a bowling ball. Okay, let's understand this. It's actually, looks like a fireball, but it's rolling. They're showing it rolling through summer. Okay, they stop at August. It's so interesting. In the past years, it's like a quarterly thing. They it's seasonal. That's why. Okay, now that's making sense. Seasonal. Okay, they're saying yes. So they're kind of showing now through August this. It's a rolling ball of fire, and again, that's us. That's us, okay? That is, the rolling ball of fire, that's the earth, the grid, okay? That idea of us coming together as a collective, lighting our own spark, creating our own fire, and connecting, fire jumping, the fire jumping, connecting in with others to create the larger fire. And these connections matter, okay? I'm getting the words greater connectedness. Okay, so some of you are going to be, what I'm feeling, I got the words global connectedness. Okay, what they really want you to understand is, they just said, don't be myopic about this. Look globally, because, we have all the technology to connect with anybody we want nowadays. Look globally, connect out, connect. Okay, because this is very much getting the connection out, that what we're going to be doing is, it's just not, It's just it feels like it's going to move massively. If you have something you're already, because we're all at different stages, right? If you have something you're actually manifesting and it's starting to become a solid, all right? They just said that, a solid, a creation that you can see, breathe, feel, touch, whatever. They're really wanting you to branch out. Oh, they just said go big. Oh, go big or go home. They didn't really mean to go home, but go big or go home, right? Like, do it. Do it. Because you have the power behind you. You have the work you've done. You know who you are. You know who you are. So many of us know who we are now. We continue to work through that. Absolutely. We know who we are. We know the power we can reclaim, that we can have. We've been told. We know this. Nothing is going to stop us now. And with that spark of desire, with that knowing, you start doing the thing to manifest out. The flowers bloom. The flowers are blooming in spring. In the northern hemisphere, we understand. The southern hemisphere is going into fall and winter, but the point is that's the metaphor they're using right now for us. Okay, the idea of spring, the idea of new growth, and they're just showing this rolling ball of our fire connected. See, oh, okay, that's why they just brought in the connect with others, connect globally, connect, reach out. Don't think you have to be limited to, I don't know, your hometown, or if you. As an example, it's about a global network. They just said it's about a global network. Think big. Okay, they want you to think big. It's in everything we do. Think big. If you're meditating and you're connecting in for the earth's health, and that's part of your work, or you're doing land work, or you're connecting in to assist humankind, think globally. Okay. Think big picture, because that is where our energy is. That's where they just said rubber meets the road. Okay, this is big picture now. We're really good. Well, this makes sense because what we've talked about for so long is the individual journey, right? We've been all in our little shell in our cocoon, and not anymore. We are out there, whatever that means to you in your journey. And don't say, oh, it doesn't matter because I'm not creating anything at all. Yes, you are. You are, if you look at the work that you've done. And again, this is wave upon wave upon wave, because you got to tend the fire, right? So if you have to tend the fire, you're continually throwing on more logs on the fire to keep that flame roaring. And when you keep that, in the metaphor, keeping the flame roaring, is new light workers showing up, waking up, adding to that fire continually. Remember, wave upon wave upon wave. So we're going to keep that roaring fire going. We're going to be working out collectively. We're going to see more of our manifestations start to take place. We're going to have, I'm getting more connectedness. This is a really powerful time rolling in, and they keep saying rolling in through summer. So we're going to see a huge shift and change in the collective, but they're very much focused this month on us individually turning into the larger collective. They're not talking a lot about global political events and things like that. But again, so we're going to let that just sit unless that shows up here in a second. But very, very much this idea. Okay, I just heard that's how you'll win the war. Now they're repeating that. That's how you'll win the war. That's how you'll win the war. Now you can argue we have real war going on, right? And they always talk about it's above, so below, which I firmly believe is occurring as well. But the point here is they're alluding to this war. Ukraine and Russia. I don't know how. They're connecting these global events that we're seeing with they're so showing the network of flames and fire. That's us. And tending the fire and throwing, the new coming in, so see, when I get channeling, I start stuttering sometimes. So excuse me. Throwing in new tinder. They're throwing tinder on the fire, which is those of us who are new coming into the awakening journey, because it's never ending. This is going to become a roaring blaze, and through that work, we will be taking the old institutions, the old constructs, the old belief systems, and there are many people in those institutions right now, building from the inside out. Or I should say rebuilding from the inside out. Many are going to go by the wayside, though, over time, and you already see it. I could give you more examples, but we're using the one today with unions. Now, I'm not saying the unions of the day that serve a lot of people in a very profound way are going by the wayside, but they've got to shift and change. It's old energy. It's antiquated. All right? So that's my point in that. And what we will start seeing is new ways of doing things. But what we're always going to have to watch for is, are you getting pulled back? I don't feel like we're going to a lot, though, particularly since those of us who have been doing this work, we understand what that feels like to get pulled back in. And we're shifting and changing vibrationally. So remember, this is all about, as well, frequency and vibration that we live in, which is ultimately translates into the dimension we're working from. Okay? And when you start working from the higher dimensional space on a regular basis, you can't really exist anywhere else anymore. You can come back down, but it feels uncomfortable. So if you're getting pulled back into all this, you're going to know right away, okay? And you're going to, especially since you're aware, right? Now you're very aware. So you're going to be able to say, no, that's not for me. I come back up, okay? So I actually know people right now who, they just said some people can hold their breath longer than others, but it also can have a detrimental effect on the body and mind. So I know some people right now that are in the thick of things and are meant to get ultimately eventually out, but what they do is they're up in this higher dimensional space most of the time, and then it's literally like scuba diving and staying until your tank is almost run out, and you shouldn't do that, right? And they're coming up to the surface with next to no air, and then they're trying to get a breath. All right, don't do that. But I'm telling you right now, I know people who are doing this, and they are strong light workers. They have huge missions, and yet some of them have got to learn how to dive down into that and be able to come up sooner. Okay, so remember that. Okay, remember that as you're journeying forward. And you have to be able to then get out of that muck, because eventually you're not going to be working in that anymore, because you've been working in it and you're shifting and changing that organization or that institution, whatever, to a higher dimensional state too. But you've got to come up, okay? You can't live down here all the time. You're going to know it. You already know it. So, I just want to see if they have anything else to say. Wow, there is so much energy around this. Okay, I don't think there's anything else we're going to want to cover today. And you know what? I forgot to introduce myself. So for those of you who just saw me launch right into channeling, which I did not expect, I'm Carolyn Zaiser. I'm a channel and I'm a distance energy healer, and I'm a spiritual awakening mentor. And I offer all these channeled messages, whether it's with Jennifer and myself having conversation or me doing channeled messages on a regular basis for you, particularly the energy updates. I offer these for your ascension and awakening journey. So I'm so happy you're here today. I would love it if you like, share, and subscribe. This way I can reach a larger audience of people who actually will really need these messages right now as we're starting to wake up. So that's how you can help me reach more of the collective. Additionally, if you want to work with me on your own personal channeled messages, check out purplerainhealing.com. You'll see all of my services there, which the foundation of everything I do is channeling. I channel your soul journey, essentially. It's not just about getting you pieces of information that don't tie to anything else. We talk about past, present, and future, regardless of what format you want your channeled messages service in. So I offer this in all formats, whether it's on the phone, we just talk one-on-one, whether you want an audio recording of me channeling for you off of the questions that you have. We also do soul journeys, Celeste and myself. The two of us actually do a 15-minute session of overarching conversation about your full-on soul journey, including off-planet lives, past, present, and future. Now, I do that as well in my individual work, but when she and I come together, we can also offer get more out of that with two people, right? I mean, that just makes sense. But these are powerful sessions that I offer, and I work with so many of you on one-on-one mentoring where we do this over extended period of time, however often you want. And you also receive a 10% discount from a single session. So I would love to work with you as we move forward into this amazing month of May. I wish you the best, and thank you again so much for joining me. I'll see you in the next video.